Hey everybody, so today we'll be working on a quick little practice to help us with cramps because I am currently dying a slow death. It's really dramatic, but it's true. So all we're going to need for today's practice is our mat, obviously, one block, and a blanket. If you don't have a blanket, you can always use a nice, thicker beach towel and kind of make it into that blanket shape. So we're going to start off on our back using the block. And just kind of give yourself a second to melt into the mat and feel anything and everything that you might be feeling at the moment. Kind of bring some awareness to the space in your body where you're feeling cramping or bloating. I always get really bad low back pain. So just kind of send some awareness to that space. And you might just let your knees kind of knock in towards each other, or maybe the legs straighten out. And let your shoulder blades really soften into the mat, kind of lengthen out your neck. Maybe a little side to side with your head. Relax your face. Unclench your jaw. And just send some breath, some energy into the space where you need it. Just a couple really slow, really nice deep breaths to center yourself. And slow yourself down. So from here, you're going to grab your block and move it to a height that you like. So depending on how much your lower back hurts, you might need to do a little lower, a little higher. We're just going to lift our seat and gently plant the block at our sacrum. So I'm going to start with the lowest level. You can always go up a little bit higher if you need to. You're just going to settle your lower back onto the block. So sacrum is that flat, bony part of your lower back, kind of just above your tailbone. And this shouldn't hurt. This should feel like some really nice, gentle pressure. And then feet are about hips distance, but your legs can be kind of relaxed. So there's not as much action here in your legs as there would be in a regular bridge pose. You're just going to relax your belly, relax your lower back, and feel that gentle pressure. And you might even close your eyes here. You might give your shoulders a nice soft roll under as you lengthen out your neck. And make sure you're not letting your chin kind of crunch towards your chest. We want some opening through our neck and our throat here. Now this is a really gentle practice, so you might stay right where you are. Remember that these are all suggestions, and this is just what works for my body and for my own pain and cramps. So you can stay right in this space. If you want to go further, though, you might bring your right knee in towards your chest and give yourself some gentle pressure here. I then like to extend my opposite leg, so you're getting some nice traction. You can see how you start to make a fulcrum point with the legs. Good, really hugging that right knee in. Softening into the lower back. And then a really gentle switch. So extend that right leg out and bring your left knee in. So again, that lower back shouldn't be hurting more because of this. And if it is, you come right back to your bridge pose, supported bridge pose, or you move your block around. So again, you might be feeling this in this nice long space across your right hip, right into the right thigh. Nice, and then maybe you try to extend both legs out. Or maybe just bring the soles of the feet back down. Good. Connect the soles of the feet to the earth again. We're going to press and lift to move the block to the side. And as you lightly touch down, really tuck your tailbone kind of up and under and soften again into the earth. And maybe 2 deep breaths here. And then let's pull both knees in towards the chest. So you can always wrap your arms all the way around if you've got it, but if you don't, a hand to each knee totally works too. And you can find complete stillness here. So you might like press down into your hands and kind of press your sacrum into the earth. You might do like a little side to side. You might make some circles with your knees and kind of connect to the edges of your sacrum, the edges of your lower back. If you're doing that, just make sure you reverse the circles. Nice. Bring yourself back to center. Touch the soles of the feet down again, and this time we're going to butterfly the legs out. So it doesn't matter how close or far away your heels are to your pelvis. That's kind of personal preference. And you might even let your hands, back of your hands, just really lightly rest on the thighs. And just feel some nice opening across the inner thighs, the belly. Couple of deep breaths. Again, it might help you to bring the awareness of the breath all the way down into the belly or all the way down into the space where you're having pain. Let's take 2 more breaths because this feels good. Last one. So just really slowly, gently guide your legs back together and tip to one side or the other. You're going to make your way over onto your hands and your knees. So I also tend to get some pain when I have my period in my knees for some reason. I don't know what that's about, but I'm going to do a little extra support underneath my knees. So tabletop, remember, especially if your lower back hurts, you might walk your hands just a little bit further to give yourself a little more space and support, or your hands might be right under your shoulders. We're just going to find some cat and cow. So as you inhale, really lift the tailbone and let your belly kind of rest down towards the earth and take an extra breath here. So really open up through your heart. And then really slowly, almost like a meditation here, start to tuck the tailbone under and make a roll from your tailbone all the way up to the crown of your head, as slow as you can. And then an extra breath here, really press the earth away. And then we'll do it one more time. So really slow, starting at the tailbone, you're going to come into your cow pose. So lift the tail and very slowly bring it all the way up to the crown of the head. Drop the belly down. Take a breath. And then same thing, really slow movement, tuck the tail and come into your cat. Good, make your way back to center, nice neutral spine. And just stir up a little bit in the hips. So you can imagine that there's like a paintbrush or a pencil on your lower back, and we're trying to make big circles on a canvas behind us. And then just pause and reverse that movement. Good, come back to center. Move your knees just a touch wider. and sit back to a nice extended child's pose. So moving your butt towards your heels. It's always okay if your butt does not touch down. I'm going to grab my block and put it about where my head's going to land. So you walk your fingertips forward and soften. Good. Just about 3 deep breaths here. Child's pose for me is like the most helpful for my cramps because it kind of takes care of everything, right? It takes care of this whole space across my lower back. It takes care of my hips, my knees. Good. So however you need to, you're just going to come up to your comfortable seat. And we're going to use our blanket for the next one. So take your blanket or your towel about this length. And then at the end, you start a nice little roll. Right, until you got like a little burrito. So we're going to place that about the center of the mat, maybe a touch closer towards the top. And come back into a tabletop. So your hands are in front of the blanket, your knees are behind. And you're gonna take your right leg and step it through. So you might use your hand like I just did to do that, and then turn the knee towards the right edge of your mat. So coming into a nice supported pigeon pose. You're gonna start to walk your left toes back until you are settled. So this support should be underneath both hips now. And just check in with yourself that you're not leaning way over to your right side, right? You're about center. And just allow your hands to kind of kickstand you up. So flex that front foot. Make sure your knee is pointed towards the right edge of your mat. And then you might grab your block as you start to walk forward with your hands. And rest your head on the block. So really relax your belly here. We're trying not to engage too much in the core because we don't want to exacerbate things. And then really relax your hands. So the first thing that we kind of do in these postures that are a little effort on the part of our hips, we tense up. And we don't want that. We want softening here. So soften your hands, relax your jaw. Relax your belly again. You can even close your eyes and kind of scan the body for these little spaces, or big spaces maybe, of tension. When you find that spot, hold the mind there, hold the awareness there. Send some energy, let it soften. Good. Take 2 more deep breaths on this side. Relax your jaw. And really slowly, you're going to start to walk your hands back up. And we'll make our way back into a tabletop. So some of us like to come right out to like a downward dog. You can make any movements here that feel good. I'm just going to stick with walking it right back to tabletop. And then maybe you extend the right leg for a moment, get some blood flow back in there. Kind of press back into the heel. And come back to tabletop. So same thing with the left side. I'm going to take my hand and kind of scooch that left foot forward and turn the left knee out towards the left edge of my mat, the foot towards the right edge of my mat. So kind of position so that the blanket is supporting both hips. Right, soften into it for a moment. Make sure that that knee is pointed to the left, right, not to the center. Flex that left foot. And then gently walk it forward. With breath. And if you want to rest your head on a block, or maybe if you've got like a big body pillow, you might rest on the body pillow. So this side's a little tighter, a little tougher for me. So I'm going to really make sure that I'm softening as much as I can. So let's relax again together. Close the eyes. Soften your face first, right? Your jaw, your forehead. Relax your hands and your shoulders. Send some softness into the hips, into the knee. Relax your belly. Let's take 2 more big breaths. Good, really gently start to move. So block moves over, let's walk our hands in. And gently make your way to that tabletop. So however you need to get there. And I'm going to do the same exact thing I did on the other side. I'm going to kick that left foot back and just kind of rock into my heel. Get some nice cracks out of my leg and come back to center. Nice. So now I'm going to take that blanket and just unroll and fold in half. So we've got about that shape, and place it down so that my hips can rest on it. So I'm going to rock myself forward and come onto my belly. And just let the legs kind of flatten. And just take a moment to rest on your belly. Good. From here, we're going to come up into a nice Sphinx pose. So elbows and shoulders come in line with each other. And your fingertips are going to spread out nice and wide. So you're almost kind of like pulling your heart forward, but without force. Roll the shoulders up, back, and down. And feel that pressure on your stomach. Relax your belly into it too. Let your legs be really soft. Again, you might close your eyes and send some awareness to where it's needed. And slowly walk your hands back underneath and press your way back up to your tabletop and readjust so that your knees are on the blanket. If you need to unfold the blanket once, please feel free. I'm going to keep it as it is. It feels kind of good on my knees. And knees are about hips distance. Again, we're going to take the right toes to kick out and then over to the left. So you're crossing the toes over your left leg and then bringing the gaze over that left shoulder. So nice big C curve. And then come on back to center with the knee. Do the same thing with the left side. So kick the toes back first, and then over to the right. Bring the gaze over your right shoulder. And then come on back to center. Wide with the knees now. Big toes touch, and we'll take one more child's pose. So back towards your heels. Slide your fingertips forward, rest. Good. Feel some nice traction in your lower back. Some nice expansion. And notice what has shifted since just a few moments ago when you started this practice. Especially with your quality of pain, bloating, discomfort. Good. Let's take 2 or 3 more deep softening breaths together. You can stay for as long as you'd like, although I wouldn't recommend anything more than 5 minutes in child's pose. You might get stuck.